You're going to start by creating a shape that is bigger than your fist, and it is made of straight lines. The length of the lines is up to you. There can be a few or there can be a lot. They can be long or they can be short, but most of it's going to be straight lines. Notice I do have a few rough lines in there, and that's going to be where my paper isn't torn. Next, from each straight line, I'm going to create a new shape, and it's going to be a really rough edged one, really wiggly. If you take a look at how I'm holding my pencil, I have my fingers all the way at the very, very tip, way back at the eraser. And I'm kind of wiggling my pencil back and forth a little bit as I draw. I want to really make sure I don't have a whole lot of control of my pencil. I don't want to create a zigzag line or, a really smooth wavy line. I want it to look really, really rough. This is really all there is to the drawing itself. The rest of the illusion is created with the shading. And we're going to start that with putting some dark lines actually on the outside of those new shapes. Think about where your light source is coming from and where your shadow might be. If my light source is from my upper left, my shadow would be on my lower right. So on the lower right side, I'm going to make a nice dark line. Now I switched to a Sharpie, but I decided after that a pencil actually works a lot better. I just traced my wiggly line, and now I'm going to make it a little bit thicker. That's going to be a nice sharp shadow. And I'm going to do that to the lower right side of most of those small shapes that I drew. Once you have a few of those shadows created, you can make them a little softer if you'd like to. I'm just using a small paper towel that I'm wrapping around my finger, and I'm going to rub it really gently along the edge. I don't want to make it too soft, but it will just help to soften a tiny, tiny bit. If my smears end up getting inside my paper, I can go ahead and erase those. Now I already have some pencil on my paper towel now, and that works great for doing some shading. So I'm going to rub that over top of some of my torn paper to give that a little dimension as well. Next, I'll go back with my pencil and add some more shadows. I wanted to make it look like the paper is a little folded, a little crinkled, so my shadows are going to be a little irregular. I'm not trying to make them very smooth. Right now I'm just adding a light value over the whole thing, and then I'll go back and smooth it out and figure out where my folds are after that. This is something we'll definitely work more with in class if this is the direction you choose to go. But for today, just try to play around with creating some shadows and working on adding some value to the paper and see what you come up with. This is really just kind of experimenting for today, playing around and seeing what you can do.